I had always been aware of the deep web. You hear the craziest, most messed up stories from people who have enough balls to explore it. Websites that involve human experimentation, hiring a hitman, and watching people through their own security cameras. It's fucked up. But honestly, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't slightly interested. Now, just to point out, there's no malicious intent behind my exploration of the deep web. I was just curious to see if it was really as bad as people said it was. The first thing I stumbled on was a website extremely centered around death, which gave me a really uneasy feeling, so I didn't really hang around that webpage very long. It takes quite a bit to freak me out, so it's safe to say I was a little surprised that I couldn't even stomach the first website I clicked on. But hey, it's not supposed to be unicorn and rainbows, right? Next, I clicked a website that was dedicated to watching people through security cameras. Most of the screens showed empty living rooms and patios. Some of them showed oddly filled rooms, like rooms that were packed with stuffed animals, and another that was eerily decorated with fucking Christmas lights and fake Santa Claus statues. Another screen showed a young woman doing yoga. That one had a lot of views, but I didn't watch that one very long. Something inside me just felt ill and just wrong. Like what I was doing was sickening. I shook my head, blinking away any more curiosity before I hovered the mouse over the tiny X to close the window. Right before I pressed the mouse, I saw a blue link under the black screen that said, "Proceed with caution." I bit down on my back teeth, yelling internally to leave the page and don't click the link. It's not worth it. It could be murder. Would that make me an accomplice? What if someone was skinning an animal or some shit like that? But then again, what if it wasn't? I don't know what the hell propelled me to move my mouse away from the window and hover over the link instead, but that's where I ended. My curiosity always got the best of me. And no matter how twisted my stomach felt, or how strong the feeling of dread was that lingered right over my head, I had to know. I really just had to know where the link led to, or it would drive me crazy until I finally found out. So, I pressed my mouse down and watched the link turn purple. I felt my mouth go dry as I watched the screen slowly loading. The page was comprised of a large screen, like a security camera page, only just one. The room was concrete and was dark. There must have been a night vision camera or something, but everything was a weird blue-green tinge. But you could tell that there was little to no light. There was a dark liquid on the floor, in a medium-sized puddle. I told myself it was gasoline. Don't ask me why. Movement in the far right of the screen caught my attention, and I immediately perked up in my desk chair, inching my face closer to the screen of my laptop. It looked like an arm, like someone's forearm. They're standing there, not really moving, but subtly swaying, just enough not to look completely still. "Hey," I said, before shaking my head and slapping my mouth shut. Stupid. Then, the person walked. They walked towards the left of the screen. I felt my stomach knot, felt my throat tingle and tighten, bile raising up the back of my throat. I knew my mouth was open, gaping, and my eyes were wide, face screwed up into an expression of pure disgust. It was a young woman. She looked like she couldn't have been older than 25 or so. Long, dark, and dirty hair, in tangles, like she'd been pulling at it. Her leg was dragging. Her other skinny leg was doing most of the work as she limped weakly. Her head was down, looking at the floor. The sound of her dragging her foot across the concrete echoed in my silent room. I didn't think it could get any worse. I was so fucking wrong. Suddenly, the woman raised her head, and it looked like it weighed a ton on her teeny body. I hadn't noticed it before, only able to barely make out the side of her profile. But now it was clear as day. She looked around, her eyes watering with tears, and black makeup streaming down her face. Small strands of bloody thread were entwined in her lips, messily tied, locking them together. Dark blood stained her chin, probably from where she tried desperately to open her mouth, to scream, before realizing she couldn't. Her dainty fingers were stained as well, the same color as a puddle on the concrete. My whole body felt weak. My stomach was sick. I tried to tell myself it was fake, that this was all a big hoax. My eyes scanned to the bottom left of the screen. 5,623. There were 5,623 people watching this. Unable to fight it any longer, I ran to the bathroom, puking inside my toilet bowl. Everything in me felt disgusting, wrong, and just twisted. Once I was finally done, I laid on the floor in the bathroom, letting the cool tiles try to soothe my burning body. My head was spinning. I kept repeating to myself over and over again in my head that I shouldn't have clicked that link. I should have left. I should have closed the fucking window and told my inner curiosity to fuck itself. Instead, I'm laying on the floor, the bathroom reeking of vomit, and my mind in a complete mess over what the hell I was supposed to do. Should I get the link and send it to the police? Should I call them now? My first instinct was to copy and paste the link, just in case, then call the police and inform them of what just happened. Maybe they could trace the IP address or something. Maybe they would recognize the girl and know where to start looking. Maybe I could save their life. I would feel really dumb if this was fake, just to get viewers. But I wasn't about to gamble, not with what was at stake. I ignored the dizzy feeling flooding my head as I jumped up, grabbing the doorknob and twisting it a bit too harshly. When I flung the door open, my phone buzzed in my pocket, scaring the living shit out of me. I stopped mid-panic and picked up with a shaky hand. I saw my girlfriend's name and immediately slid to answer. My voice was a complete wreck, my eyes finding the screen where the girl shrunk down to the ground. The sound of her cries all around my room, making my body feel rigid. I had nothing to throw up, but I still felt sick. Madeline, you're not gonna believe what I just fucking saw. What? Are you okay? Have you been crying? No, I'm not okay. Averting my eyes to the screen. I know you said to stay away from the deep web, but... Are you kidding me? Her voice went from caring to mad in a split second. I told you to stay away from that place. You never listened to me. You never fucking do. There's a girl, I said weakly. She's trapped in some basement. Her mouth is sewn shut. There's blood all over her face. I don't know what to do. Madeline. The girl's cries got louder, more desperate, but muffled. I'm so sorry. Close it out, clear your history, and never go back there again. I'm not kidding. But should I call? No. Her voice was stern now. You don't know if it's bullshit. It's probably staged to gain disgusting viewers, apparently like yourself. People do it all the time. That's why I said it's best that you stay away from there. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble. I didn't say anything, wordlessly walking over to my desk. My hands shook as I raised the mouse to the small X once more. My eyes watched as the number of viewers slowly ticked higher and higher before I closed the window. I felt even worse than before. Okay, we can report them tomorrow, just in case. But for now, just go to sleep and stay the hell away. I can't believe you went there in the first place. I didn't have the energy to argue with her. Guilt plagued my whole body, drowning me. It was all I could feel. I told her goodnight, that I was sorry and I loved her, before I hung up and made my way to the couch to sleep. Or try to sleep. I didn't feel right, not while that girl was still trapped, unable to scream for help, unable to talk at all. I know it could be fake, but was that a risk I was willing to take? I looked up some Google searches over what is fake on the deep web, and I read multiple stories about staged webcam videos, which made me feel a bit better. It didn't make the sick, guilty feeling go away, though. It's safe to say I didn't get much sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, or even began to drift off, I would see the woman's face, the thread laced into her lips, and the blood staining on her mouth, her fingers, and the floor. I continued to grow more anxious and uneasy, deciding to maybe get out of the house. Heading over to the local CVS and picking up some melatonin might help. I threw my blanket off, slid my shoes on, and grabbed my keys and wallet from the nightstand. The cool air felt amazing and did wonders to calm my whirlwind of thoughts in my head. I went to check the time, realizing I left my phone at home. Not a huge deal. The store was only a few minutes away from my house. I ended up buying melatonin and a stronger sleeping pill just in case that didn't work. I also got a pack of bottled water to help rehydrate after I vomited all the contents from my stomach earlier. By the time I got home, I felt much, much better, which lasted about 3 seconds before I noticed that my front door was wide open. Now, I may have been in a state of shock or panic, but I never ever would leave my front door open or even unlocked. My heart immediately began to race. I got out of my car, closing the door quietly, and unlocking my trunk and grabbing a crowbar that I kept in there. "Who's there?" I yelled into the house, waiting for any noise. "Who is in there?" My own voice was shaking and weak. I was met with complete silence, keeping the crowbar up, ready to strike. I walked to the couch and felt for my phone. As soon as I found it, I hit the emergency button and waited till I got a hold of 911, letting the operator know that I think someone had broken into my house. She told me that the police were on their way. After checking around the house for anything odd, I decided to give my girlfriend a call, letting her know what happened. The phone rang, and rang, and rang some more. After getting the voicemail, I hung up, knowing that she was probably asleep since this was late at night. I waited about 20 minutes or so for the police to show up, and walked them in like a scared puppy as they checked every room. They ended up having me just fill out a report, and they would keep a patrol car in the area just in case someone else gets hit. As they were leaving, I checked to see if Madeline had called back yet, but there wasn't any missed calls. I, however, did notice several outgoing calls to her cell phone at 3:12, 3:14, 3:17, and 3:20, and another one at 3:56, which was around the time I had gotten home. My mind went into automatic panic, knowing the fact that I did not make these calls. I quickly checked my text, reading that I apparently sent her a text at 3:23. "Hey, can't sleep, coming over. Mind leaving the back door unlocked so I can get in?" I didn't send that message. My stomach dropped. My heart thudded loudly in my chest. And I noticed a reply directly underneath. "Sorry, I was sleeping. Thanks for waking me up, by the way. Lose your key again? It's unlocked. Don't be too late." Without a second thought, I jumped, running to lock all the doors and windows in my house, keeping the crowbar tight in my hand as I ran to my car. I drove as fast as my little Civic would allow me to, all the way to her house, ignoring any stoplights. It only took me 3 minutes to get there, but I still knew I would be too late. I made my way to her back door, feeling every cell in my body burn when I saw it wide open. My face was hot, my hands were shaking, but I stepped in, crowbar raised like a bat, ready to swing. I tried to keep my emotions at bay as I looked around the dark house. "Madeline," I called out. "Are you okay, babe?" Nothing, just silence. "Madeline!" A small scream came from her bedroom, just up the stairs. My legs jerked to run as I flew up the stairs, slamming her door open. I looked at her empty bed, her empty room. Confused, I heard her scream again, only this time, I heard it was coming through her computer monitor. I felt numb as I looked at the screen, noticing the same website I saw earlier. Only instead of one woman, I saw two. The first was laying on the floor, not moving, in the puddle of dark liquid. I recognized the second girl, just as I had recognized her voice. My heart shattered as I saw her face, streaked in blood. The same threading was sewn into her eyelids, locking them shut. Her screams hit my bones, surrounding my body. It's all I could hear. Her face was twisted in pure horror. I cried as her voice was beginning to go out and continued to grow weaker and more rasped. I locked my jaw, picking up my cell phone and dialing 911 for the second time. This time it only rang once before a deep, gravelly voice from another man answered. "You shouldn't have called." Chills shot down my body, and I heard the phone hit a thud as it hit the carpeted floor. My breath hitched in my throat, and I bent over to pick it up. Hanging up the call and racing downstairs. How did he do that? How did he redirect my call away from the police? I felt my heart race as I darted to her back door. In a frenzy, I sprinted to the closest house. I pounded on the door, screaming on the top of my lungs, until the neighbors opened it. Her face was tired, confused, and scared. She let me in, and I explained in frantic tears what happened. I'm typing this on my phone as we both get a hold of the cops, but neither of our cell phones are going through, and neither was her landline. I think someone is messing with our signal, and they may have cut her line, but we're gonna keep trying. I'm scared for me, I'm scared for my girlfriend, and I'm scared for her neighbor. I don't know what's gonna happen to me. If you don't hear from me again, please take this advice and experience to heart. Stay away from the deep web. One of the hottest trends on YouTube right now is ordering these random mystery boxes from complete strangers on the deep web and opening them on camera. I don't know why I didn't realize that a clear majority of these were fake and staged for the scare factor, but I didn't. I thought it was a great idea and hopped on the bandwagon to claim my YouTube stardom that I desperately longed for. For those who do not know a lot about the deep web, it's simply a part of the internet that isn't accessible from your basic Chrome, Firefox, or Explorer search engines. You must download the encryption program, Tor, and the Tor browser, for starters. It's not illegal to access this part of the internet, but since it's anonymous, a great deal of illegal actions happen there. The possibilities are endless. I grabbed my laptop I've had since I graduated in 2011 and download the required programs. I prefer to use my laptop over my desktop in case of viruses and such. My 7-year-old laptop is a little bit more disposable. I had a little Bitcoin phase a few years ago when it was blowing up, so I saved a little bit already. It wasn't much, only 0.1 Bitcoin, which translates to roughly $632, but it was enough to get what I was looking for. After all the downloads were finished, I opened the browser and started my journey at the Hidden Wiki website. They provide a lot of useful links to get started on the deep web. I scrolled through the warnings and gists of what it was and found the links I was looking for. Almost forgot, I muttered to myself as I grabbed the duct tape from my desk drawer. I cut a teeny square piece off and placed it over my webcam. Call me paranoid, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I clicked the first link and waited what seemed like forever for the page to load. It was a very plain page with a list of popular websites that you can scroll through on the side. I continued my search through the web links until I found a page dedicated to mystery boxes. I wanted to find one around $500 so people knew I meant business on my channel. These were relatively small, staying around 0.0125 to 0.05 Bitcoin range. I wasn't worried about being scammed. I decided to continue my search after a quick bathroom break. When I came back, I noticed that the cursor was off to the side and was able to click on a link that must have matched the background color of the website because I couldn't see it. I indulged in my curiosity and clicked the link. I was taken to a pitch black page with small white text near the top. I'm selling one random package to any brave enough to receive it for only 0.12 Bitcoin. Only one, huh? I thought to myself. I'll shoot my shot. I hit the small payment button and was asked how much I would like to spend. I entered 0.1 Bitcoin with my fingers crossed. The payment went through without any hesitation, and I instantly was met with a chat box asking me where I would want the package sent. I know it wasn't a good idea, and I regret it to this day, but the other YouTube channels used their own address often, so I thought nothing of it. I gave them my home address. I waited over a month for the box to come in, 36 days to be exact. It arrived directly on my front porch and was wrapped numerous times in red tape. I set my camera on the tripod and adjusted it to show me and the box on the small wooden table. I draped a sheet in the background so it would look more professional. I collected some gloves and scissors so I could bang out this video in one go. Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's vlog. Boy, I got a surprise for you. I continued my monologue, mentioning how I got this box and how much I paid. Without wasting further time, let's open this deep web mystery box. I grabbed the scissors and cut along the red tape. I made sure my gloves were on tight, and I ripped open the box. My brow furrows as I see just one book. Without saying a word, I take the book out of the box. I was pretty pissed. Spent over $600 on a book. Well folks, Looks like we have ourselves a dud. These pages better be made of gold. The outside of the book was old and tattered. It smelled like mildew and mold. I cracked the book open to the first page and glanced over the contents. It's an old photo album. Smells like old rot. Look at these pictures. I show the camera a view of the page contents. It has 4 pictures on the first page, all labeled by days. The first picture said day 1, the second said day 2, and so on. The pictures were just taken from an old Polaroid camera. The pictures were of airplanes, random suitcases, couple of taxis, and some pretty shady motels. Looks like someone's old travel photos. I continue flipping through the pages. Every day was a different photo, of a nature of cars or trains. Day 18 held the oddest photo yet. It was just a mask, handcuffs, a gag, and a bottle of some sort of drug it looked like. These people had one hell of a fetish. I tried to keep the video interesting. I zoomed into the pictures with the camera so everyone could see it. Around day 32, things started getting weird. There was a picture of a house, but not just any house. It was a house I grew up in. My parents' house. My hands covered my mouth as I gasped for air. How was this? I was unable to form a sentence. I'm at a loss for words. Day 33. I turn the page and see a man and a woman handcuffed and gagged. I immediately expel the contents of my stomach as I see my own mom's scared and crying face and my dad, face first, in a pile of what looked like black tar. Day 34. This photo is taken inside of what looks like a vehicle. I focus my gaze on the dashboard, where there's a small photo barely visible. It's an old school photo of me. There in my dad's truck. Day 35. Another house, but this one is much smaller. The photo is too blurry to make out any details. My hands are trembling, and all I can hear is my heartbeat pounding in my ears. I flip to the last page. I immediately throw the book down on the ground and run to the window. I jiggle the hatch frantically and throw it open. Without hesitation, I jump out and run to my neighbors. As I'm running, I turn around for a brief second. What I saw still haunts me to this day. A tall hooded figure stood in my room, looking at me through the window. He stood motionless before lifting his hand and waving. I screamed for my neighbors, who hurried me inside and called the cops. I sat there and just cried. I cried out of fear for my life. I cried for my parents. I cried because it was all my fault. My lack of common sense got my parents killed, and I will have to live with that forever. If you access the deep web, do not release your personal information, even if the people on YouTube do. Most of it's not real. And always check your boxes. It would have saved me a lot of trouble if I would have noticed that the box I received had no tracking sticker on it. It was hand delivered. When I was younger, I liked to window shop at the deep web. It wasn't anything serious. I would just look at the prices of various substances and how to get them delivered. That was my first exposure to cryptocurrency, and I wish I had never bought my first Bitcoin. There's a forum out there. I wish I could tell you that it was dead and buried by now. But I know it isn't. I know because they're still tracking me. The first thread I read, there seemed like some kind of gambling action. Admins would take bets and the users would place them. But the bets weren't on sports or horse racing, not even on cockfights. They were on suicides. Who would do it when and why? Who would push them over the edge and be the straw to break the camel's back? In order to place any bets, I would have to exchange Bitcoin for Deathcoin. The process was difficult, very difficult for a kid in high school. But when I finally did, it was exhilarating. The person I chose was, at the time, another high schooler. Her name was Karen, and she was in the same town that I am, but went to a different school. Once the bet was placed, I was delivered via PDF a dossier on her life. I knew her habits and routines. I knew how long it took her to wake up in the morning and how long it took her to go to sleep. I even knew her favorite color, which was blue. I bet that after a year of harassment, she would be in a wooden box 6 feet under. The admins would dedicate a thread to each victim for updates on their progress. and each victim had several field workers dedicated to them. They received the same dossier I did. The difference is that they went outside and put it to use. Field agents would covertly harass her in all ways, graffiti directed at her, speaking about her all day within earshot, and the most daring agents broke into her house regularly. They didn't steal anything though. What they did was move her furniture, ever so slightly, in the same direction for months. Needless to say, this brought her past her brink. Karen began hearing voices in her head, and she couldn't distinguish them from the ones outside. They would all tell her the same thing: kill yourself. And so on the first Friday of October, she exited her parents' house and made it into the garage with her mother's keys. The engine sparked and the exhaust filtered from the muffler into the car. She passed out an hour later. The field agents had won like they always do. Congratulations, Karen Walters was found dead this morning in her mother's car. The lucky winner is user number 228305504. Attached to the thread was the article about the suicide. My number was just a few days before the winners, so I lost hundreds of bucks, but I did get to watch someone spiral down for a year. Like I said before, it was exhilarating and well worth it. Who wouldn't pay $100 for front row seats of someone ending it? We all would. Humanity is a dark thing, and I'm no exception. But the loss left a bad taste in my mouth, so I never placed another bet. I didn't even return to the forum for years, until I noticed my couch was slightly out of place. Cold sweat beaded down my neck, and I turned my computer on and fired up Tor for the first time since high school. It took some digging, but I finally found the site, and there I was, a whole thread dedicated to me. I was chosen, but I have something that the others don't. I know what you're doing, and I'll be coming for you. I started doing it on a whim. My brother had an unhealthy obsession with online vloggers. I can barely go a day without him linking me to a video of someone taking part in some sort of challenge or some sort of social experiment. So when this whole deep web mystery box trend started, I was one of the first to know. My brother must have sent me dozens of videos of annoying preteens opening boxes full of junk that they tried to pass off as creepy and sinister. When my brother asked me for my opinion, I told him that it combined all the boredom of unboxing videos with all the stupidity of the Tide Pod challenge. I added that most of them were probably making the boxes themselves. Even I could do it. And then the wheels started turning. A quick search confirmed that it was a growing trend, with hundreds of people claiming to have opened up boxes containing everything from drugs to murder weapons to mystery flash drives. Some vloggers even claimed that they had spent thousands of dollars on a single mystery box. Those were obviously fake, but what about the rest? Were there really people out there who would spend at least $100 for a chance to go viral? I bet that they would, and unfortunately, I was right. Putting the mystery box together was easier than I expected. I had some cardboard boxes stuffed in the back of my closet that turned out to be perfect size for the job. Some rusty screwdrivers provided as perfect murder weapons. My desk drawer offered a surprising number of old flash drives. I had made mystery box ready by filling them with as many creepy videos as I could download. Finally, some expired sinus tablets provided me with some mysterious deep web drugs once I peeled the labels off. Getting the website set up on the deep web was a little harder, but you can find an online tutorial for anything these days. By the time I was ready for bed, I was the proud owner of Emporium of Mysteries. For $50 of Bitcoin, anyone could be a proud owner of a mystery box. Sure, the site looked like it came straight out of the 90s, but it was good enough. I was in business. The next morning, I went looking for customers. Fortunately, my brother's messages had made me very familiar with the online vlogging community. I messaged a few of the smaller channels with some burner accounts that I had made and left a few comments on their latest videos. You should do a deep web unboxing video. You know what would be really cool? Unboxing something from the deep web. I bet you get millions of views. I heard about this new place on the deep web called Emporium of Mysteries. They sell mystery boxes there. You should check them out. Then all I had to do was sit back and wait. By the end of the day, I had 6 purchases. Not much all put together, but enough to put food on the table. By the end of the afternoon, I had the boxes ready to ship. I wasn't looking to scam these people after all. They still got to make their stupid videos, and I got to eat. Everyone was happy. I sold a few more over the next few weeks, but eventually, interest died down. Life went on. My brother sent me more stupid videos, and I gradually forgot about the time that I was a deep web merchant. Until last Friday, when I got home and there was a package waiting for me outside my apartment door. I picked it up and examined it. I realized that it was one of my mystery boxes. It looked like it had an unhappy customer, but it wasn't like they were getting their money back. I took it inside and opened it. It was empty, other than a flash drive that I did not recognize. I was curious to see what was on it, but I wasn't about to let some distinguished hacker infect my computer, so I got my old laptop that I hardly use anymore and plugged it in. It was full of pictures of my hometown, of my apartment, of me. Whoever sent this had been following me, had been inside my home. Staring at those pictures, I started to recognize just how out of my depth I was. You see, not everything you find on the deep web is fake. There are some people out there who do sell real mystery boxes, and they are tired of scammers like me taking away from their profits. Thankfully, they are very generous people and want to give me a second chance. So I am pleased to announce that the Emporium of Mysteries is under new management. Now, for the same low price, you can receive a genuine mystery box. It will include a special tool from my new partner's personal collection, along with a video instructing you how to use it and co-starring myself. The body part or organ extracted during the video will also be included as a special memento. Supplies are limited, so search us out in the deep web as soon as possible. We're looking forward to your business.